here, Jaina, and in this video about spiritual meaning of TED. Hey, like the title and intro said, this is video about spiritual meaning of TED. Now, I am going to tell this spiritual meaning in two parts. And before I get to those, the few things I want to say. First, I think it's clear based on the fact that I am creating this video that I do believe that there is a spiritual meaning to me having TeD the Tumor and the whole experience with it. I do believe that if we have been healthy and we get sick, that there is a spiritual reason behind it too. Let's take a relationship, for example. If the relationship, or when some relationship starts to go off, we start to feel something is off. Things that other person does or says start to bother us. At first, it's here and there, and then it starts to become bigger and stronger. And often, most of the time, we don't say anything right away, but we notice it, we recognize it, but it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then at some point it blows up, and then the relationship often is over. Or we start to work on this relationship to fix it, to improve it, if that's what both people involved in relationship feel like is the right thing to do. So, reasons for the relationship to blow up started to build up already step by step. And I feel and believe that the same happens, like I said, if we are healthy or have been healthy and then we get sick, then I do believe that that illness, whatever we get sick with, started already emotionally somewhere. It was building up, and then it kind of like manifested in the physical form. Now, the other thing that I want to say with this regarding spiritual meaning of TED in my life, I believe that when something happens, some illness happens, something tragic happens, it's not just illness, but in my case it was TED. If we want to dig deeper, look for that spiritual meaning, there are two types of spiritual meanings. There's a personal meaning, and then there is general. What I mean by that is, like, for example, general meaning. Maybe there is a general meaning for sun. Like, if we think of sun, it's bright, it's shiny, it's joyful. So if we see sun, like, let's say, for example, if I am giving an intuitive reading session for someone, if I see sun in relation to certain situation, the general meaning of that would be, it's a joyful situation, it's something to look forward to, it's something good. But then there is a personal meaning, where that sun for me maybe that it's about vacation. like going to someplace sunny for vacation. Or maybe it reminds of certain situation. My point with all this, and hope these examples kind of showed too, like how there is a personal meaning and a general meaning. So the first personal spiritual meaning of TED for me is this. I hadn't taken time off, break, rested, vacation from my daily routine, even though every single day for me is different. Still, there is some kind of routine in all that. From work, from this environment I had been for 8, 9, somewhere there, years. Not my proudest moment or fact, but it is a fact. And I had been feeling overwhelmed and that I do need break, but I hadn't had that much of a practice of taking a break, and maybe I even had forgotten how to take a break. Even though I preach that, I tell people to take break, and I am cheering for people having that balance between work and rest. I hadn't done it myself, and something had to happen. It's one of those things, if we don't do it ourselves, something from the outside happens that forces us to do it if it's important for us. Kind of like universe creating something, forcing us, in this case, to rest. I mean, once I had started TED discovery process, but before TED was discovered, or before divorce from TED, there was already like kind of break from the routine, and then after the divorce of TED, I was physically like just forced to rest and basically do nothing. And I have to say, I soaked up all that resting time without feeling any guilt or anything. In a way, it's sad that partially that had to happen. I mean, that wasn't the only reason why that happened, but like, you know, part of it, I see how that happened to force me to take a break. I needed that break. I needed a break, like any kind of break. And if that was that break, if that was the situation that was gonna give me a break, I mean, I was, as tough as everything was, I did soak up all the break time. And the lesson from all this, from this I am taking, is that I should really take my own advice and have that balance between work and go and do to actually rest and rejuvenate and take time off. Start with small steps, like schedule time off weekly, monthly. That would be already like, you know, step by step. I think that's a good start for me. And saying no, because I'm always, I think a lot of people around me could also say that I always say yes. Like someone asks me for help, someone asked me to do something, or if I could help, or if we could do this and that, and I usually say yes. And yeah, maybe not say yes. And also, if I had said I'm gonna do something and people are counting on me, then I most likely, even if I don't feel like doing it, I will do it, unless something unexpected happens last minute, something like big, then I'm not able to do it. I can recall a couple times that happening, but for most part, I'll go and do it even if I don't feel good. Whereas now I feel like, I mean, I have to take care of myself first. I have to pay attention to what I feel, how I feel, if I need to rest, and take that time to rest. Even if I can't do it like right away, but schedule it in somehow. I mean, I'm working on it. So yeah, that's the first personal spiritual meaning or like reason of TED that I can see. So another, that second personal spiritual meaning for having TED is this. If we think tumor, it's like, you know, this growth. It started somewhere and then it just grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. If we think ovaries, it's reproductive organs. So they are very directly related to giving birth. So physically, it's about giving birth to a baby, new life. Symbolically, it's giving birth to new ideas, new projects, new creative something, anything, even if it's not creative, just giving birth to something new. I have had gazillions of ideas for different creative projects. Like, I can come up, if I have to, with different creative ideas for anything really. On top of it, I have these creative ideas for different areas, different aspects, like things I'm working on, like writing, creating. These ideas just come to me, and I've been having a hard time to keep up with them, because idea comes like that. But then to give this idea life, to actually work it, to birth it, that takes way more time than just like a split second. So I have had these ideas pile up one on top of another, and I have given birth to some, but not even close to all the ideas that I have. And I've felt actually pretty frustrated for quite some time before TED was discovered, that I hadn't had enough time and energy, and then I was also feeling depressed for a couple of years before TED was discovered. And if you know anything about depression and feeling depressed, that's one of those things where you just, like, where it takes so much effort to even do something that you gotta do, like just getting out of the bed can be really challenging. Never mind like giving birth to new ideas. Later on I did find out that that depression can actually be one of the TED symptoms, which I am pretty sure now that it was. Anyhow, so I've had these ideas pile up, and if we look at it symbolically, like, you know, if it just piles up on one on top of another, TED was basically like a premature baby that was born well, not born, right? But I mean, once I got a divorce from TeD, it was taken out of me. He was taken out of me. It's just, I mean, I can see how, like, symbolically it is this accumulation of these ideas that I had never given birth to, or I hadn't given birth to yet. So it was kind of like this big reminder to work on giving birth to ideas and not just let them pile up. And yeah, that's basically these two personal spiritual meanings of TeD in my life that I came up with. Now let's look at the general ideas. Now, when it comes to a general spiritual idea, I took as basis Louise Hay work. If you don't know who she is or what I'm talking about her most well-known book, Heal Your Body. What she did is she collected, documented people having different symptoms, different illness, and seeing what emotions these people were experiencing, what emotionally was going on. And she started to see pattern comparing. She started to see a pattern that people with same symptoms were having same or similar emotional stuff going on. And so in this book, she presents this idea based on her documentation, where she gives this physical symptom or illness, even if it's not physical, it could be mental illness, gives the possible emotional cause for it, and then gives an affirmation to break that emotional thing that's going on that was causing this illness. I took photos of the diagnosis of some symptoms I was experiencing, and I'm going to insert them now in video and then just comment a bit how it and if it makes sense. I have said it in some previous videos that there is a twist to TeD's story. I cannot reveal the twist yet because I'm creating these videos in chronological order, telling TeD's story. But it is important to mention the twist here because it's not gonna affect in any different way this spiritual meaning, but this twist is going to just make it stronger, the spiritual meaning of TeD. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Now, this first one, giving out, letting go, masculine energy, man, the father. Well, I grew up without father. Then in my early teen years, I was molested. I've never really been big on wanting to be in romantic relationship, and not to assume anything, I am straight, so that would involve guy. So I've never been big on that. Like I've been told that that's a problem. I haven't really seen it as like a big problem, but I can see how that could be. Also, it talks about masculine energy. You know what I was saying in personal spiritual meaning about go, 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 do, 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 that's basically what I've been doing. So clearly I have no problem with going, going, doing, doing. I have a problem with taking a break from going, going, doing, doing. So it's like too much of that energy. So yeah, I can see how that would be part of it, one of the reasons, part of the reason. Nursing old hurts and shocks, building remorse. I'm not aware of me building remorse. However, nursing old hurts and shocks, I've had a lot of those, like the ones I mentioned, you know, making a connection with the previous one about masculine energy, man from childhood. And also my childhood ended basically when I was 5 years old, and I only just a few years ago, but still pretty recently, made new discoveries in seeing how what happened when I was 5 years old, how it has affected and shaped basically my whole life. And there's a lot of hurt and a lot of anger and everything that comes with it. And I can see how, see, this thought pattern, like a new thought pattern says release the past. Again, it's about letting go. So I can see how it's been building up there. So yeah, makes sense. Denial of self. I was just saying in my personal spiritual meaning part where I haven't really put myself first, so that would basically qualify as denial of the self, rejecting femininity, rejection of feminine principle. I was saying masculine energy is kind of seen as this go, do kind of energy spiritually, and feminine is more about receiving and nurturing, and I haven't really been good at that. So also TeD's situation, this whole thing happening, I had to ask for help, and if I can't do it myself, I won't do it. And so I had to ask for help, and I did ask for help through this TeD situation, and that's part of nurturing, receiving the feminine energy, feminine side, feminine principle, part of it. So yeah, this one makes sense too. Creativity, exactly what I was saying as part of the personal spiritual meaning for me about creative projects and all that. So yeah, makes perfect sense. High blood pressure was the first symptom in this TeD experience before I even knew TeD was happening. So long-standing emotional problems not solved, based on everything I just said about the previous problems. Yes, makes sense again. And again, it says new thought pattern. I joyously release the past. So are you seeing the pattern? There's a lot to do about letting go of the past. Past hurts. Letting go of those hurts and living in the now and embracing joyfully now and new. And I can't say that I've been consciously aware of past or the fact that I haven't released past, but I can see how subconsciously it's been still there. A lot of it's coming since I was like 5 years old, possibly even before that, but 5 years old is what I'm consciously aware of. So yeah, makes sense. This is another good one. I mean, what or whom won't you let go of? All about letting go, releasing the past, and that it's safe to let go of past. I mean, based on all this, I'd say there's been a lot of past, like, hurtful stuff still in me. I can really see how it could have been still there. I mean, I think when we work through stuff throughout our lives, it's usually not like, oh, I'm just letting go and it's gone. It's usually there's a layer after a layer and we let go, and it's only a layer of that we have let go. And then there's more stuff under it, and yeah, I can see how I have let go of parts of the past, but not everything in relation to all the things that came up. So yeah, makes sense again. And edema, that was like basically my reason for finally going to the doctor, so I thought it's like an important one here to add to. So yeah, that's it for this video. The spiritual meaning of TED in my life, personal meaning, general meanings, and yeah, let me know what you think, and I do hope you enjoyed this video. It ended up being way longer than I thought it would be, but it is what it is, and yeah. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.